Good afternoon, students. So we'll get started. So yesterday, the last topic, what was the last topic that we saw? We saw a series RC and an RL circuit, right? Guys, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
So we saw a series RL and RC circuit yesterday. So today we will be seeing a series LCR circuit. This is a very, very important one, okay? That is, it is an extension of that RL and RC circuit in series. So as the name suggests, this is a circuit where you have resistor, inductor, and capacitor connected in series across an AC source. So this we call it as series LCR or RLC, however you want, you can call it. So series LCR circuit, where the resistance is R, inductance is L, and the capacitance is C. Right? So if the current in this conductor is flowing in this direction, then we can say that the potential drop across the resistor, if it is, okay, sorry. We take the current as a reference, right? So the current across the resistor, if it is IR, then how is the voltage with respect to current that we saw yesterday? IR and VR, they both are in phase. Similarly, if IR is the current through the inductor as well, then what is going to be the direction of voltage? So voltage leads the current by 90 degrees, right? In the case of an inductor. Similarly, across a capacitor, the current is still going to be IR because all the three are in series. When they are in series, the current is going to be the same. In this case, the VC, in this case, VC will be in the direction opposite. That is, VC will be lagging IR by 90 degrees. So having all these points in mind, if we try to plot a phasor diagram between all the voltages, then if VR is like this, then VL will be in this direction and VC will be in this direction. So this is VR, this is VL, and this is VC. So this, if I take it as omega t, then this will be 90 degrees and this will be 90 degrees. Okay. So if I take this as VC, then this vector rotated in this direction will be minus VC, right? So have that in your mind. So it will be something like this. The voltage taken here will be minus VC. Okay. Now the new phasor diagram will look something like this. If this is VR, then this will, sorry. Then this will be VL minus VC. And this is called as VR. And this angle is omega t. Then the resultant will be like this. This is the V effective value. So what is the value of V effective? Can you guys tell me? So V effective will be equal to square root of VR square plus VL minus VC the whole square. Correct? So V effective will be equal to square root of, what is VR square? It is I into R the whole square plus VL minus VC is I into XL minus I into XC the whole square. So if you take the I value outside, I into root of R square plus XL minus XC the whole square is the value of V effective. So V effective in this case will be I into Z, where this I and I will get cancelled. Then Z will be equal to how much? Root of R square plus XL minus XC the whole square. So this is going to be the impedance of, this is going to be the value of impedance of series LCR circuit. Write it down.
So I have a doubt.
Tell me.
So the reason why it went in the VL direction is because VL has a greater magnitude than VC. So
The reason why?
the graph in the second case, the one you drew after.
No need, no need. It is because it is in the second quadrant. I took it like that. Sometimes VL will be less than VC also. Not necessary that VL has to be greater than VC always.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Done?
Yes.
Please. So this is going to be the value of the impedance of a series RLC circuit. So Z will be this thing. Okay. The next point is the graph is like this, right? So the graph is in this way. If you take this angle as phi, okay, if you take this angle as phi, then observe VR is like this. VL minus VC is like this, and V effective is like this. Okay. Now see, if I draw a narrow mark parallel to this VL minus VC, which is of the same magnitude, okay, which is of the same magnitude, then I can say this is VL minus VC. Okay. Then if this is V effective, then if I tilt this triangle and draw it right, you will get something like this. This is VR. This is VL minus VC. And this is going to be V effective. Okay. And if I take this angle as phi, then what is cos phi from this triangle? So cos phi will be equal to VR divided by V effective. VR is I into R, V effective is I into Z. I and I will get cancelled. It will be R divided by Z. So this is the value of cos phi. And I told what this cos phi is yesterday. What is this cos phi, guys? It is called as the
power factor.
It's called as power factor. So the power factor's definition is it is the ratio of the resistance to the impedance present in the circuit. And this triangle, I told what it is. It's called as impedance triangle. Right. Similarly, what is the value of tan phi? So tan phi is equal to VL minus VC divided by V effective. So what is VL? It is I into XL minus VC is I into XC. The whole divided by V effective is I into Z. I and I. This will get cancelled. So tan phi will be equal to XL minus XC divided by Z. But remember, the value of tan phi keeps changing from circuit to circuit, but the value of power factor is common for RL circuit, RC circuit, and series RLC circuit.
So I have a doubt, sir.
Oh, tell me.
What does power factor mean? Where do you use it?
You'll understand it later. Not you'll understand it later. When I discuss the concept of power, you'll understand. I'm just
Okay, sir.
preparing you for that term in the which you'll be hearing it in the future. Maybe in today's class itself, if time permits, or else you will see it in tomorrow's class.
Okay, sir.
Clear, guys? This is what is tan phi. Tan phi is equal to XL minus XC, the whole divided by Z. Okay. So, just certain terms for you to remember. There is something called as susceptance. So, susceptance means the reciprocal of the reactance of an AC circuit is called as susceptance, and there is something called as admittance. So the reciprocal of impedance of an AC circuit is called as its admittance. See, we have something called as resistance and conductance, right? So if resistance is R, then conductance will be G. What is G? G is the reciprocal of R. 1 by R, right? In a similar way, if you talk about the reciprocal of reactance, then that is called as susceptance. If you talk about the reciprocal of impedance, that is called as admittance. And both of these physical quantities will have the same unit, ohm inverse. Ohm inverse is also written as MHO, mho. Okay. This is just the reverse of ohm. Okay. So the next condition, the next important condition that we are going to talk about is called as resonance in series RLC circuit, which is a very, very, very important concept. Okay. You will have a definite question from this concept. So you need to understand what it exactly means. Okay. Listen, guys. So if I take a bulb, okay, which is connected across an inductor and capacitor in series across an alternating AC source like this. Okay. Now, can I call this also as a series RLC circuit or LCR circuit? Logic is very simple. You have inductance and capacitance connected across a bulb. Bulb generally has what? It works on the principle of dissipation of heat. So bulb generally has resistance. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Now see, now I have a question. When this circuit is closed, can I say the same amount of current is going to pass through the bulb, the inductor, and the capacitor because they are in series? First point to be noted. The second important point is when current is flowing through this bulb, see, there are two things, guys. Suppose the bulb is directly connected to the AC source, okay, and it is left. and it is closed, okay, and if the circuit is closed, what would have happened to this bulb? It will glow with a constant intensity. I hope you understand what does intensity mean. Intensity is the brightness. So the amount of light it is going to illuminate is going to be a constant. Am I right? But assume there is a situation like this where the inductor and capacitor are variable. So what do I mean by variable? You have the provision to change the value of their reactances. Okay. Or you can change the value of their capacitance and inductance respectively. Right. If you have this kind of a scenario, then what exactly can you do to this current? Is this value of current going to be a constant value? Guys, are you able to understand what I'm asking? Is this value of current going to be a constant value? So what is the difference between the first scenario and the second scenario? In the second scenario, which I explained, the bulb is directly connected to the EMF source, so it is glowing with a constant intensity. Whereas in the second case, what is the possibility you have in your hand to do? What changes can you bring in?
Change in the inductance and capacitance.
As a result of which you will be able to change the value of XL and XC. Because XL is omega L, XC is 1 by omega C. So if inductance and capacitance are changed, you can change the value of XL and XC. Accepted? Now, when the amount of reactance offered by these two devices can be changed, can I say that this value of current will also change? Right? So, if you keep changing these values of L and C so that the value of XL and XC are changing correspondingly, then there will be one particular value. So, the condition under which current through a series RLC circuit is maximum is called resonance condition. Guys, tell me one thing. If the value of current here is changing, what do you think will happen to the intensity of the bulb? Will it be glowing with constant intensity, or do you think it will waver? The brightness will keep changing, right? So during the whole process of experimentation, there will be one particular value of XL and XC at which you can say that the intensity of the bulb is maximum. And when will that happen? Under what condition will the bulb glow with maximum intensity? Under the resonance condition. You're able to understand?
Yes, sir.
So please write it down. If someone asks you under resonance condition what is going to happen, don't write about bulb and all those things. Those things are for your understanding. Actually, the explanation you're supposed to write in the exam is the condition under which the current through a series RLC circuit is maximum. Is what we call it as resonance condition. Okay. I'm sure this resonance is, this word resonance, you're not hearing it for the first time. You had it in your 11th standard also under the name of chapter called waves. Okay. So this we call it as resonance condition. Okay. Now we are going to derive the mathematical condition for resonant frequency. So note it down. Note, during the resonance condition, the value of XL will be equal to XC. Why is this happening? This is very simple. If I take I naught will be equal to V naught divided by Z, where Z is a what? Z is the impedance of series RLC, right? So Z will be equal to root of R square plus XL minus XC the whole square. Now remember, I will be maximum. Okay, I'll do a small change. I'll write I is equal to V by Z. Now I will be maximum when Z is minimum. If you observe, the minimum value of Z that is possible is 0. But if it is 0, what will happen to the current? Current will become infinite. Why? How did I conclude that the minimum value of Z is 0? Because first thing, it's a square root. It's a square root of sum of two positive numbers. Correct? If R, I call it as A square plus B square is always a positive number. Z is minimum, so Z should be 0, which is not possible. Okay. So then there are two conditions. A square plus B square is there. I can make this as a minimum value when A is equal to 0. See, other than 0. Okay, one thing is A can be 0 and B can be 0, but this condition is eliminated. So what can happen is A can be 0 and B can be less, or A can be less and B can be 0. When that is happening, it is observed that Z is minimum when XL minus XC is equal to 0. That is, B part is equal to 0, because you can define the impedance for any circuit only if it has resistance in it. So resistance cannot be made 0. Okay. So remember this point. I told you already. What are the three important opposition terms that you learned with A and CE, ending with A and CE? Resistance, reactance, and impedance. So resistance is for a purely resistive circuit. Reactance is for devices which can store energy. What are the devices which can store energy?
Capacitors and
Capacitor and inductor. Okay. So if it is only capacitor present, we call it as capacitive inductor, capacitive reactance. If only inductor is present, we call it as inductive reactance. Then when will you define impedance? When it is a combination of resistance plus reactance. Okay. So remember, resistance cannot be equal to 0. So when can Z be made minimum? Only when XL minus XC is equal to 0 and XL should be equal to XC. See, observe, there is an important conclusion that we are going to draw here. What is the value of XL? It is omega L. This will be equal to 1 by omega C. When you rearrange the equation, you will get omega square is equal to 1 by LC, which implies omega is equal to 1 divided by root of LC. And this frequency is what is called as resonance frequency. So this is the frequency at which the whole RLC circuit is said to be under resonance condition. Means only this kind of a frequency is maintained. You can say that the maximum current is flowing through the RLC circuit. Okay. This is a very, very important formula. As I told you, problems will be asked based on this.
Sir, can you explain the previous step around, sir? From omega L equals omega by 1 by omega C.
Cross multiply that. Bring L this side, omega to the other, take it omega to the other side. Omega square will be equal to 1 by L. Omega L is XL. 1 by omega C is XC. That is a known formula.
Okay, sir.
So this is the resonance frequency.
Sir, can we take impedance as our effective resistance?
In this case, yes, it is. Only in this case. So that was the next important point I was about to say. Hence, see one more thing, omega R is 1 by LC, FR will be equal to 1 by 2 pi into root of LC, because omega r is how much? 2 pi into f, no? So omega r is 2 pi into fr, and this will be equal to 1 by root LC. So take 1 by 2 pi to the other side, it becomes 1 by 2 pi root LC. Okay. So this is the value of resonant frequency. Now listen, guys. The other important note I would like to mention here is, under resonance condition, okay, under resonance condition, what will happen is a series RLC circuit behaves like a purely resistive circuit. So under resonance condition, a series RLC circuit behaves like a purely resistive circuit. Means the impedance in the impedance value for a series RLC circuit in resonance condition is equal to R itself. Okay. So this is also a point that you need to remember.
So could you go a bit more, sir, at the start of this?
Done?
This complete.
Okay. Now listen.
Start for a minute. This. So could you scroll up a bit more?
Your voice is not audible. Can you come a little closer to the mic?
Sir, could you scroll up a bit more, sir, like to the start of this?
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Now listen. So there is something called as sharpness of resonance. So let me explain what it actually is. So now we are going to discuss about a term called as Q factor. Okay. So to define the sharpness of resistance, if you plot a graph between I naught, that is maximum value of current, and omega. Okay. So this graph itself says variation of current amplitude with frequency in LCR circuit. Then what you can observe is you will get a graph like this. So you will get a graph like this, where you can observe that the value of maximum current itself is increasing and it is becoming highest at which value? What is the corresponding frequency at which the value of I naught is maximum? It is omega r, and again you can observe that the value of current will decrease. Okay, so it is actually the same graph that is drawn for 3 different scenarios. Okay, don't think that you have to memorize these 3 graphs. No. So there are 3 graphs drawn for different cases. What are the 3 cases? One is they observe what will happen when you have a low value of resistance. One they observed when you have moderate value of resistance. One when you have high value of resistance. When you do that, then we can conclude something like this. The value of I naught is increasing and it is becoming maximum at the resonant frequency. After the resonant frequency, again, it is going to decrease. So from this graph, there is a very, very important term that is defined, which is called as quality factor. Okay, which is represented by the symbol Q. Okay, so the quality factor is defined like this. Please write it down, guys. So write it down. The quality factor of a series resonant circuit is defined as the ratio of resonant frequency to the difference in two frequencies taken on both sides of the resonant frequency, such that at each frequency the amplitude becomes 1 by root 2 times the value at resonant frequency. So the Q factor of a series resonant circuit is defined as a ratio of the resonant frequency. So Q factor is equal to ratio of whom? Of the resonant frequency divided by the difference in two frequencies which are taken on both sides of the resonant frequency, omega 2 minus omega 1. Means if you plot the graph between I naught and omega, the graph will look something like this. So this is omega r. If I call this as omega 1 and if I call this as omega 2, at omega r, if you find the corresponding current value, it will be maximum, right? And here if you plot, then it will be observed, it is I naught divided by root 2. That is the meaning. So at omega 1, the value of current is 1 by root 2 times the value at the resonant frequency. So the value at the resonant frequency is I naught, right? So it will be, or I will take it as I max by root 2. The value at resonant frequency, I took it as I max. So here I will take it as I max divided by root 2. Are you able to understand what are those frequencies? So there are different frequencies that you can choose, where there will be two frequencies which have the same value of current except one value, that is the resonant frequency. There is only one frequency at which there is only one value of current possible, that is at resonant frequency. Every other place, if you see, you draw a line parallel to x-axis, what will happen? It will cut it at 2 points, means you will get two values of omega for which there is same value of I. In that way, if you find two values omega 1 and omega 2 where the corresponding I value is I max divided by root 2, then quality factor is defined as omega r divided by omega 2 minus omega 1. Okay, have this in your mind. And Q can be written as omega r divided by 2 times delta omega, where this 2 times delta omega is generally called as bandwidth. Okay, let me explain what the delta omega is. Delta omega is this value, delta omega. That is the distance between omega 1 and omega r is delta omega. Similarly, the distance between omega r and omega 2 is also delta omega. So 2 times delta omega is basically omega 2 minus omega 1. Okay. Now listen. So this is all about the sharpness. So more is the value of quality factor, more will be the sharpness. That is the meaning of it. So sharpness means they are talking about the sharpness of this curve. Okay. Am I clear, guys? So write down, there is one more formula also for this. Q is defined as 1 by R into root of L divided by C. You don't need the derivation of this. Okay. So derivation can be ignored. It's not there. So quality factor is defined as 1 by R into root of L by C, where R is resistance, L is inductance, and C is capacitance. Okay. So this is all about the resonance frequency and series RLC circuit. Now what I will do is, did we do any problems from this chapter till now? Guys, did we do any problem? No, right?
You gave a random example.
Okay. So we'll do it from the textbook because then you will have clarity. There are only 2 more concepts pending, so don't worry about completion. We can finish it off. I don't know for which batch I solved. Not even one problem we did, guys.
Sorry.
Okay. So then we have to start from the beginning only, no?
Yes.
So have the notes beside you so that you will understand the solutions, or else it will be like you have to memorize them. Listen, 7.1 will start with. So there is a light bulb which is rated at 100 watt for a 220 volt supply. So power is equal to 100 watt and voltage is 220 volt. So whenever they give you this, right, it is always RMS value. Because in our house, if they give you something like this, it is always RMS value. If they have to tell you the peak value, they'll give you the equation of the curve, like E is equal to E naught sine omega t will be given. If something is given like this, then this stands for instantaneous value and this stands for amplitude. Okay, so this will be 220 volt. Find the resistance of the bulb. So power is equal to, can I write it as V RMS square divided by R? Right. So R will be equal to VRMS square is 220 square divided by power is 100. So what will you get? 48400 divided by 100. It will be 484 ohm. Right. Next is, what is the peak value of the voltage? What is the peak value of the voltage? Peak value is equal to root 2 times VRMS. So it is root 2 into VRMS is 220. Okay, these many volts is going to be the value of peak voltage. Then what is the RMS current through the bulb? So RMS current is equal to VRMS divided by resistance. So VRMS is 220, resistance is 484. So on solving this, you get 0.450 ampere. One minute, guys, I'm getting a call. Yeah, guys. So we'll go to the next problem. 7.2. So there is a pure inductor of 25 millihenry is connected to a source of 220 volt. So tell me the data. L is equal to 25 into 10 power minus 3 Henry. And what is the voltage they are given? It is V RMS, that is equal to 220 volt. Find the inductive reactance. XL is equal to omega into L. What is the value of omega, guys? Omega is 2 pi F into L. So find the inductive reactance and RMS current in the circuit if the frequency of the source is 50 hertz. So frequency is 50 means 2 pi into 50 into L is 25 into 10 power minus 3. Okay, that will give you a value of 7.85 ohm. Now, what about the value of IRMS? So IRMS will be equal to VRMS divided by XL. So what is the value of VRMS? It is 220 divided by XL is 7.85. On solving this, you will get 28 ampere. Okay. So this is how you solve a problem based on pure inductance. Now we'll see this. So I want you all to think and answer. Example 7.3, which is very, very important again. So there is a lamp which is connected in series with a capacitor. Predict your observations for DC and AC connections. So there is a lamp which is connected in series with a capacitor. So this circuit is similar to what?
RLC
RC
without
circuit.
L's.
It is RC circuit. So it is RC circuit. Predict your observations for DC and AC connections. Means if this kind of a circuit is connected across a DC source, and if this kind of a circuit is connected across an AC source, what happens in each case if the capacitance of the capacitor is reduced? Predict your observations for DC and AC connections. Okay. So I told you yesterday, right? R XC. So what is the value of XC when it is connected across a DC source? It is, yesterday I told you,
0, sir.
not
But it's
0.
close to 10
Infinity,
volts,
sir.
It is infinite. Means what will happen? It will become an open condition. Are you guys able to understand? What do I mean by open condition here? Means there will be no more current flowing through it. Hence, when you connect a resistor to a DC source through a capacitor, then the bulb will not glow.
So I have a doubt, sir.
Tell me.
Initially, it will glow until the capacitor is charged, right?
Yes, initially it will glow but till the capacitor is fully charged. After it is
After
fully
which
charged,
it won't glow.
no. You can only see a little bit of flash and it will go off. That's what will happen in real time.
Okay, sir.
Okay. And they asked a sub question also. What will happen if the capacitance of the capacitor is reduced? In the case of a DC source, there is no effect of the capacitance at all. So what is going to happen whether you decrease or increase? Nothing. No change will appear. Whereas when you have a resistor connected across a capacitor through an AC source, what would have happened?
The power of the bulb will vary. Like the amount
So
of light is
XC
going
is
to
there.
vary.
So XC is there. No, yes, the bulb will glow. The bulb will glow, accepted. But when the capacitance is decreased, okay, when C is decreased, what will happen to XC? When capacitance is decreased, XC will increase because XC is equal to 1 by omega C. When XC increases, current will decrease because opposition increases, current will decrease, right? When current is going to decrease, what will happen to the intensity? That will obviously decrease. Hence, when the capacitance is decreased, you can say that the bulb will glow dimmer.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you read the statement, you will understand it better. What they have put. Next. So I want you guys to try this solve. Practice to take the data and apply it in a formula. So did you finish?
You have to find the exact value, sir.
No, no need of exact value. Did you understand how to put the data? So what is the data you took out? Capacitance is equal to 15 microfarad. That is 15 into 10 power minus 6 farad. Is connected across an RMS source of 220 volt and 50 hertz. Find the capacitive reactance. So XC is equal to 1 divided by omega C. That will be 1 by 2 pi F into C. So you substitute the values, you'll get it. If the frequency is doubled, what happens to the capacitive reactance and the current? Observe, XC is inversely proportional to F. So if F is increased, XC will decrease. When XC will decrease, what will happen to the current? It will increase. So since this is doubled, this will become half. So since this become half, this will get doubled. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
That's it.
Why did they give voltage, sir?
Why did they give?
Voltage.
RMS value, voltage.
Yes, sir.
Maybe they wanted to, no, they asked, no, find the current. I didn't see that. find the current. So for you to find the RMS value, IRMS is equal to VRMS divided by XC. So VRMS is 220 divided by XC is how much? XC will get a value from here, which is 212. It will be 1 point something. Okay, those many amperes. Now peak value, how will you find? I naught will be equal to root 2 times IRMS. That's it.
Yes, sir, understood.
Yeah. Okay. Next. Let's try one last problem for today. 7.5. A light bulb and an open coil inductor. So open coil here means the inner medium is air. An open coil inductor are connected to an AC source through a key as shown in the figure. The switch is closed and after some time, an iron rod is inserted into the interior of the inductor. The glow of the light bulb, option A, increases, B decreases, C is unchanged as the iron rod is inserted. Give your answer with reasons. So what will be the answer? It's very simple. So when you close this, what will happen? XL is there, R is there. Right? None of them are infinite or zero. So current will keep flowing through it. Okay. Now we will concentrate only on the inductor. So initially, if the inductor had a permeability of mu naught because it is an open coil inductor. Now, when an iron rod is inserted, what will happen in this case? Now, when an iron rod is inserted, what will happen? The permeability becomes mu, and mu will be equal to mu naught into mu r, because we know this formula, mu r is equal to mu divided by mu naught. This goes to the other side, right? Since iron rod has, if you recollect from previous chapter, iron rod has a permeability greater than 1000, as a result of which I can say mu will increase a lot. Accepted? When mu is increasing, observe, there is a formula for inductance. L is equal to mu naught into mu r, n square A into L. I'm not sure if you guys remember this. This is the formula for self-inductance of a solenoid, right? So when mu naught into mu r is increasing, what will happen to the value of L? L will also increase. If L is increasing, what will happen to XL? Guys, I'm asking a direct question. XL is equal to omega into L. What will happen to XL?
It will also increase.
When XL increases, what will happen to current?
Decrease.
When current decreases, what will happen to the intensity of the bulb?
It increases.
So option B is the right answer.
Okay, sir.
I want you to write down the solution that I gave, because if you read the textbook part, you will not understand. Okay. So this is all for today. In tomorrow's class, we'll be discussing about the average power of an AC circuit in complete cycle. And the class next to it, we'll discuss transformers. With that, this chapter is over. Okay, in the meanwhile, we'll solve some problems also, like how we did today. So any other doubt, guys?
No doubt, sir.
Oh. Okay, then we can wind up.
Thank you, sir.